Hello, my name's Lauren, and if you've not seen my videos before, then I like to talk about all things bookish, so reading vlogs, book reviews, book hauls, all that good stuff, and there's always a cat involved. When you live with 3 cats, that's just what happens. So today it is time for another reading vlog. We are on a reading vlog spurt at the moment, and with good reason, because I have been reading the Caraval series. So if you have seen my videos before, then you may notice that I already have a reading vlog for Caraval and Legendary, which means it's now time for the 3rd and final book in the series, finale. It has been a journey doing this. Like, I love doing reading vlogs. They're one of my all-time favourite things to do, and tackling a series like this that is hugely popular has been so fun to do on a reading vlog, but it is a lot. So we are on the 3rd and final reading vlog now for Caraval. It ends with this book. I am well aware there is Spectacular as well, but that is a novella and it's a Christmassy book. We will not be doing that until December. So in the original trilogy, this is the final book now. Do go and watch my Caraval and my Legendary vlogs. If you haven't seen my reading vlogs before, they are a deep dive into the book as I am reading it. So there are spoilers, and lots of them. You have been warned. If you've been here before, you know how these reading vlogs go. We just go with the flow. It's crazy. There's cats involved. There's snacks involved. And it's just a good time. I'm super excited to be on to finale now. I have loved this series far more than I could have ever anticipated. And I'm super ready to get all the answers that I don't already have and to get a conclusion to this. The first 2 books have been 5-star reads for me. I am hoping that this one is also a 5-star read. And yeah, let's go. Let's get into finale. Let's conclude the Caraval series. And let's have fun with it. I genuinely don't know if I am emotionally ready for this series to end. Like, what am I going to do when I've finished this? Good morning. I started this book on Wednesday. It is now Saturday morning. You might be thinking, oh, I bet you're at least halfway through the book. No, I am not. I am only on page 132. The reading has not been happening, much to my disappointment. There is a cat coming. There we go. No one wants to see your bum. Move. So yeah, I am planning on powering through a decent chunk of this today. I think I mentioned in my Legendary vlog when I was talking about starting this, I said that I wanted to see this one from multiple viewpoints. It is from both Scarlett and Donatella's viewpoint, so some chapters are Scarlett, some are Donatella's. Obviously it tells you who you're reading at the start of the chapter, but I do like that because obviously book 1 was Scarlett's, book 2 was Donatella's, so I think it's only fitting that book 3 is from both perspectives. As I said, I'm only like 132 pages in, but lots has happened already. I mean, at this point, it's not surprising the amount of stuff that is packed into these books, but I really don't know how I feel about the storylines. Scarlett and Julian's storyline is all over the show, and I have to say I adored Scarlett in book 1, and I do think out of the 2 sisters she was my favourite until we got to this book, because she has been meeting up with the Count, or she has met the Count once, and now she's created some sort of competition between him and Julian, and whoever wins gets to marry her, and it's all really to punish Julian. I'm not really liking Scarlett's attitude at the moment. She needs to fix that and just be with Julian. And then Tella, Jax is back, and if you watched my Legendary reading vlog, you know that Jax turned out to be one of my favourite characters, and I'm not gonna lie, at this point I think I'm rooting for Jax over Legend when it comes to like relationship wise for Tella. There's just something about Jax, like he's such a well written character. I do think Legend cares about Tella, and I do think Jax does, but it's Jax and Tella for me at the moment. I don't think that's how it's going to end though, but anyway. What else significant has happened? Paloma is dead, Tella and Scarlett's mum, but I don't think she is. It all happened pretty fast, and came to like an abrupt ending before that storyline had even really taken off. So I don't think that she's truly dead. I think there's going to be more to that. And yeah, that is pretty much where we are at. Scarlett needs to fix her attitude and be with Julian. I'm rooting for Jax. Who knows what's happening with Paloma. So yeah, decent chunk of this getting read today, I hope. And we'll see how far I can progress. We're at page 178 now. And I needed to do an update before I read any more because I just knew that this was coming. There was something that told me, because the book is purple, that Scarlett and Tella's dad was going to come back, because purple is the colour that's always been associated with him. Like, he's always wearing purple. They always talk about purple flowers and like plum tones and things like that. So there was just something about this book being purple. It's like, Scarlett's dad's coming back. And Scarlett has just been going to meet the Count and she's now being kidnapped, and it would appear it's on the order of her father. So the governor is coming back, it would appear. Tella is trying to find out what the weakness is for the fallen star after he killed Paloma. She's also discovered that if immortals love, even just for like a minute, they become human for that minute. So now she's connecting that to legend and wondering if that's why they can't ever be in love. I don't know where that's going to leave their storyline. I feel like that is going to resolve itself though, and that Tella and Legend will be together in this, but we shall see. Up until, I'd say, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 chapters back, Scarlett was really getting on my nerves in this book, but it did appear that before she got kidnapped, she was going to break things off with the Count because she does want to be with Julian, which is the right choice, we know that. But now she's been kidnapped, so who knows what's going to go down there. And yeah, might be able to get to halfway through the book today. I think the halfway point is something like 244 pages. So I might be able to get to halfway today, we shall see. I mean, that would put me like in a really good place for how long I've been bitting and batting with this. And I do kind of want to get this finished before the end of January, because then I will have finished the entire series in January as well. But I'm not going to rush my way through it. I haven't been rushing with any of the books. I still am going to take my time with it. So yeah, let's see what happens with the governor. Let's see what happens with the whole immortals can't fall in love. And we'll keep going. Good morning. It is Sunday, and if you've seen my other reading vlogs, then you know that Sunday morning means making a coffee and getting back in bed and reading. I am going to make a coffee, I'm going to get back in bed and read. But I normally do like a cute little montage, making the coffee, getting in bed and reading. I'm not going to even lie to you, that is not happening this morning. I've woke up completely deaf in one ear, and I have a lot of problems with my ears, so now it's just worrying me, and I'm thinking about like having to try and get a doctor's appointment tomorrow, and if there's going to be pain with it. So yeah, it's not the best start to my Sunday, I'm not gonna lie. It's really irritating, like it feels really irritating. So I can't be bothered even trying to make this look semi-aesthetically pleasing. I am literally just going to make a coffee, get back in bed and try and ignore the awful full feeling that I have in my ear, and yeah, pray that this doesn't turn into a really bad infection that I've had before. Anyway, the book. I didn't actually get to halfway yesterday like I wanted to. I ended up stopping because I was feeling quite tired, and then I did some colouring instead. So I didn't get to halfway. There has been no mention of Tella's kidnapping since I did the update yesterday, and now Tella's gone to some midnight maze, I think it's called, with Legend, and he has basically admitted that what Tella was told is correct. He can't fall in love with her. However, he has said that he wants to make her into an immortal so she won't die. But even if he does that, he still won't love her. So Tella's like, no, that's not what I want. I don't want to be immortal. I want your love. So you tell him, Tella. So yeah, I've got a feeling that that is all going to change. Like, something's going to happen with that. or it's not going to be a happy ending if it doesn't. So I definitely will get to halfway today because I've got nothing else to do and I just need to try and forget about this situation that I've got going on. I'm imagining there's going to be more about Scarlett's kidnapping very soon because that just ended abruptly and then we moved straight on to Donatella's chapters, so I'm imagining that we'll be revisiting that very shortly. Mr. Thomas has come to make me feel better. Haven't you? He's always so chatty and then I turn the camera on and he's like, nope, I'm going to be quiet now. Got anything to say? You're such a good boy. It seems to have taken forever to get to this point, but I am finally halfway through the book. Just over halfway now. I'm on page 255 and I think the halfway point is like 244 pages. So yeah, it really does seem to have taken me forever to get to this point, but we're there, and there has been a huge twist. Like, I love that even on the third book into this, it can still throw a huge curveball and still take me by surprise. That is a sign of a very good series. Scarlett's kidnapping by her father. There has now, and that is where the twist comes, because ever since the first book, it's been made clear that Scarlett has some sort of ability to like sense her emotions in colour, and recently she's been able to sort of sense other people's emotions as well, which is sort of new for her. So she did get kidnapped, but it turned out it was the fallen star that had kidnapped her. And earlier in the book we had the whole thing with the fallen star and Paloma, and obviously they were, I don't want to say in love because we've already know the whole thing about immortals can't really be in love, but they had some sort of relationship. It turns out that Scarlett, according to the fallen star, I mean, we can't take anything as truth in this book, but according to the fallen star, Scarlett is actually his daughter. Which means she has far more abilities than just being able to see these emotions, and that she could become a fate because the fallen star created all the fates and he could make her a fate. Scarlett is now trying to use that to her advantage to kill the fallen star basically. And yeah, what a huge twist. I did not see that one coming. Like, my theory that the governor was coming back because the book is purple was just completely wrong. What else has happened? Oh, Legend died in his Midnight Maze, but we know that he can't really die because he's also an immortal. He's just turned back up now because Teller is at the market trying to find another way to kill the fallen star. That is where we are up to. Like I say, I am loving that even 3 books in, it can still take me massively by surprise. Let's address this reading vlog. Because I feel like there is definitely not going to be as much footage in comparison to the Caraval and the Legendary reading vlogs. And that is no reflection on this book at all, and no reflection of my enjoyment of it. I have less than 200 pages of finale left, and I am well aware that I haven't been filming as much as what I did for the other 2 books. Now, the last time I filmed was Sunday. It's now Tuesday. I didn't do a lot of reading yesterday. On Sunday, I said about my ear being blocked up. I do have an ear infection. Touch wood, it's just an outer ear infection, and it does feel like it's clearing up already because I have some antibiotic spray. So I haven't been poorly with it, however I have been extremely tired because for the first night of having this, I didn't really sleep. So I finished work yesterday and actually had a huge nap. So yeah, and then the rest of it, I've just not been, like, last week was crazy busy, like with work. Things were up and down. I don't really have a fixed routine with work at the minute. And then, like I say, this week started with an ear infection. The lack of footage has nothing to do with the book. What I have been doing with this is just sitting in the times that I have had to read, just sitting and immersing myself in it rather than thinking about needing to film. There's also not as many clips because I feel like with Caraval and Legendary, it was like boom, boom, boom with twists and turns. This does have a few twists in it, like the last big twist was the fallen star being Scarlett's father. However, at the minute it's not like constant one after the other, and again that is not a criticism, because I feel like we're wrapping up the series in this book. It's not as like needing to throw twists and turns in on every other page, so there's also not those like instant shock reactions to what I'm reading either, because we are just tying up a lot of the storyline now. If this is vastly different to my other two reading vlogs, I do apologise. It is just the nature of things at the minute, and I'm not gonna like force myself to film things about the book. And like, I know there's no cosy montages or anything in this vlog. I don't know if there will be. I highly doubt it at this point, but it's just life. I said, like, when I started this channel and like my book talk and things like that, it's not always aesthetic, and I know a lot of book accounts are very aesthetic, and that is just not what you get here. You get a big dose of reality of me and my Ude. I've probably got an hour and a half-ish to just sit and read this now, so I reckon I can get a decent chunk of it done. Again, there's probably not going to be loads of updates unless it throws a major curveball in there, but I will update again tonight with what is happening. A thought did just occur to me while I was reading a couple of chapters, and I will say that in this book I think there's a lot more of the like magical system to get your head around, whereas in Caraval and Legendary it was predominantly just Legends magic that you were experiencing. I know we had a little bit of Jax's magic in Legendary as well, but because all the fates are back now in this book, there is much more of a magical system in place in this book now. But I am liking it. For someone who hasn't really tackled fantasy before, I know this is quite entry level, but I am enjoying it. I am enjoying like that building the magical world a little bit more. And of course, I am super pleased that Jax is in this book more than he was in Legendary. I want to hate him. Like, he's almost just killed Teller by giving her a heart attack, so Legend would give him some of his power. Like, he's tried telling Teller that he would never have let her die, and I don't know, I can't fully work out 100% how Jax feels about Teller. I do think he cares about her in some way, but I don't know if it goes beyond just the fact that he's like, that she's like an obsession for him. Well, we've had a curveball, and what a big one it is. So it turns out Teller and Jax are married. Now, I like Jax, but boy, she didn't want to be married to you. Let's rewind. Teller's mother died. Jax offered to take away all her pain, and obviously she was deep in grief, so she agreed to it. She has just found out that the bond that they did, the like blood oath that they did, created an immortal bond between them, like a wedding. Now, how is she going to get out of that? I can't even work it out in my head. I want to say maybe about 150-ish pages left in the book, and there is so much still to wrap up. Never mind the fact that Teller and Jax are now married. That obviously needs resolving. There's a whole Teller and Legend storyline that needs resolving. Like, who even knows where that's going to go now that she's apparently married to Jax? Because that could have gone one of two ways up to this. Either she was going to become immortal, like Legend wants her to be, or it's going to flip and Legend will become human. But now she has an immortal bond to Jax, so who even knows there? Scarlett currently has a cage of rubies around her head because she defied the fallen star and tried to get some of his blood, so now she's trapped in a cage of rubies. And yeah, we've not heard from Scarlett for a little while since the cage incident. What else needs wrapping up? I'm still not fully convinced that like Paloma's story is over, but I don't know, because that's just another thread to throw in there in 150 pages. I just really hope, because for how much that happens in these books, I'm not convinced that 150 pages is enough to securely wrap all these threads up, and I'm getting a little bit worried now. I need it to come to a firm conclusion. Like, I know there's Spectacular, but Spectacular is just a novella, and even though it's got the characters from Caraval in it, from what I can tell, like, it's only a couple hundred pages, so it's not really going to be like left on a cliffhanger, this, I don't think. But there's so much to wrap up, I don't know how it's going to do it. Also, I do currently have a little reading friend as well. Okay, my little tatey. I've got no idea what he's saying. It's currently Wednesday evening. I would like to get this book finished for Friday. Now, this might not make a lot of sense when you're watching this because this vlog's not going to go out for a while. So just for context, Friday is the 31st of January and I want to get it finished so it can go in January's reading wrap up that I will probably be filming over the weekend. And that will also mean that I've done all 3 Caraval books in January. So I think the last update that I did last night was my shock at the twist of Jax and Teller being like immortally bound. But Teller went to see Jax to confront him about this and he told her there was a way to undo it. I really felt for Jax in this moment, and I don't know if he is playing a game with Teller or if he does genuinely love her. But he told her how to undo the mortal bond, and she asked him that if she undid it, would she still be his true love? And he said he didn't know, but he wanted her to be. And then she went ahead and undid the mortal bond anyway. Like, his heart has only just started beating and she's broken it. Thomas has decided to come and join as well, look. So yeah, Teller has broken Jax's heart, and I'm not happy because, well, I just love Jax. So, what else? Oh, and on the back of that, Teller then decided that she did want to be immortal, to be with Legend. Went to Legend and asked him to turn her into an immortal, and then he refused. She told Legend that she loved him, and then he refused to turn her into an immortal because he said that she deserved someone that loved her back, not just someone who wanted to possess her. But I am finding it hard to feel sorry for Legend at this point, because I'm like, man, just get a grip. Either turn her immortal or don't, because this backing and forthing is no good. Especially when I'm Team Jax. Scarlett's not really mastering these skills that she's supposed to have, which is really like annoying the fallen star. So I don't know what's going to happen there. Like, Scarlett's story very much feels like a bit of a side story in this. I did think that this would be a little bit more evenly split between Teller and Scarlett, but to me it feels predominantly like a Teller story, and I guess that is because of her connection to Legend, and obviously the overarching thing is about Legend. And that probably is a slight criticism because I did really like Scarlett in the first book. She has annoyed me a little bit in this one, but I still would have liked more even split between their stories. So that is where we're at. 120 pages to go. Let's see how many more punches this can pack. There's only 66 pages left, and I don't know how it's all going to get wrapped up in 66 pages because more things just keep happening. Scarlett has finally learnt how to like use her powers and ended up using them on Julian, but then she stopped and tried to make a deal with the fallen star. Julian is now being tortured, so now Julian is now imprisoned. Oh, it's just all going down, and there's still so many things that aren't resolved without new things happening when there's only 66 pages until the end. Part of me wishes I could get all of this finished tonight, but I know I can't. It's making me like nervous and on edge as to how any of this is going to conclude when there's really not that much of the book left. Like, I've read 400 pages and obviously a lot has happened in 400 pages. How is that all going to conclude in just 66 pages? I have finished finale. I am not going to do the proper update right now. I will do that tomorrow morning when I have gathered all my thoughts and composed myself, because I am not okay right now. I can't believe that I have finished the Caraval Trilogy. I started Caraval on the 11th of January. Today is the 30th of January It has taken me 20 days to read the entire trilogy. The trilogy that I had no intention of reading back to back. It was just supposed to be Caraval, and then I was going to take a break, read something else, maybe come to Legendary in like February, March time. But I just fell in love with the series. I can't quite believe that I never get to read those books for the first time ever again. I never get to experience that like I've just experienced it, and that makes me feel really grateful that I've done these reading vlogs. So some part of me can hold on to that first time experience, because I did not believe the hype on these books, and I feel like now I've completed the trilogy, it's probably going to put me in a huge slump, because I've just been completely immersed in the world of Caraval for 20 days, and it's just been all consuming. I have filmed back-to-back reading vlogs for every one of these books. I have obviously read each book back-to-back. I have been taking notes for it. I have been writing reviews on my blog. I've been talking about it on TikTok. I've been talking about it on Instagram. Yeah, Caraval has just taken over my life for 20 days, and now I don't have that anymore, and I don't really know what I'm supposed to do or what I'm supposed to read next. Just in a little bit of shock right now that it's all over with. Well, here we are with the last ever update for finale and the last update for the Caraval series until I do get to Spectacular, but that's going to be the like back end of the year. So unsurprisingly, considering that both Caraval and Legendary both got 5 stars, finale is a 5-star read for me. I was pretty happy with how it all concluded and how it ended. Obviously the fallen star did end up dying, though that was quite a touching moment. I mean, the fallen star character was written really well. All throughout you really disliked him until that moment, and it was just beautifully done how that ended. And Scarlet becoming the Empress was just fantastic as well. However, overall the series did leave a couple of unanswered questions for me, which doesn't totally sit right with me, considering that there aren't going to be any more books. So I guess we're just left with these unanswered questions. So for me, I'm just looking at the notes that I made when I finished it last night. Jax and the Fates got quite a swift ending, considering they are a huge part of this novel, and obviously Jax was a big part of Legendary and a big part of this book, and then this book is predominantly focused on the return of the Fates. That all ended very, very swiftly, and I know everything was supposed to change for the Fates when the Fallen Star died, but that was just over and done with super swift. Like, oh, they've basically gone to live somewhere else. You're probably never going to see them again. I wasn't 100% happy with that wrap up, considering like the dynamic that Teller and Jax had through this, and that he did end up controlling her emotions and then he was just gone. But I get there was a lot going on and it all needed wrapping up swiftly. I would just have liked a little bit more. It just felt like boom, done, when they'd been such a big part of the book. I maybe would have liked to have seen, or maybe even had a 4th book to explore the idea of everything like that Teller sacrificed in this. We know that she had to give up her daughter's weakness. That was the secret that she had to trade to find out information about the Fallen Star. We can guess that she's going to go on and have children with Legend, because he did give up his immortality at the end and became human for Teller. I think a 4th book would have worked really well in this. I get like wanting to keep it to a trilogy, but I really would have liked to have seen a 4th book. Paloma's backstory. All throughout this I said, oh, there's going to be more to Paloma. She can't just die that quickly when there's been such like a hoo-ha surrounding her. No, that was Paloma's story. The Fallen Star did genuinely kill her. There was no more Paloma apart from a swift sort of time traveling bit where Scarlet met her. That all felt quite unresolved to me. I felt like we never really knew that character all that much. So again, that was a bit, I don't know how I feel about that storyline. And obviously there were questions about Paloma / Paradise the Lost being Elentine's Heir. That was just sort of left up to you to make your mind upon that one and keep guessing. The Legend, Julian, Teller and Scarlet storylines were all wrapped up, and I get that they are the main characters, so it was necessary to wrap those up. There were just a few other threads I would have liked to have seen a better ending for. But overall, absolutely adored the trilogy. Like, I think that's abundantly clear how much I've enjoyed this from the 3 reading vlogs. As I said last night, I am really glad. It was a lot doing 3 reading vlogs back to back, but I am really glad that I did them. I was very tempted to move on to Once Upon a Broken Heart. However, I don't think I can go in with another trilogy just yet. So I am going to read something very, very different from these books now, in the hopes that this doesn't put me in a reading slump, because I've just loved this and it's been all consuming now for nearly 3 weeks, and I've still got some content to make about these for my blog and for TikTok and things like that. So yeah, I need something that's just not this series, because it's been intense. But honestly, I cannot recommend this enough. I've said it in all the vlogs, I think. The hype is 100% worth it. Do yourselves a favour, pick up the books, read them, reread them if you've already read them before, because it is just a fantastic world to be immersed in, and especially in like January, February, March kind of time, when it's a bit there's not much going on in the year. What better time to read this series? I really do hope that you've enjoyed all 3 reading vlogs for the Caraval series. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know which book in the trilogy was your favourite if you've read them, and I will see you guys next time.